Good morning everybody. So we are back with another video, and today we are coming back to our mighty goddess of the night, Nyx. So I did do a little video about her a few weeks back when I was releasing when I was launching all the meditation oils in relation to the 5 new meditation oil blends that I have that are formulated for 5 particular goddesses. And Nyx was one of those goddesses. So today we're going to delve in a little bit more deeper into this goddess. So Nyx is a primordial, and like many of the primordials, information on her can be quite tricky, just because she is just so old, and a lot of what would have been documents have long since been lost. So the easiest way of doing it is I'm actually going to cover off a lot of sections of the different poems and lyrics of the time that have been recovered from her. So just a little bit about her before we get into all of that. So Nyx was the goddess of the night. She was one of the primordial gods who emerged at the dawn of creation. She was a child of chaos, and she was partnered with Erebos, the god of darkness. And with him, she produced ether, light, and Hemera, day. But on her own, she went on to also give birth to the 3 fates: sleep, death, strife, and pain. So Nyx is a very ancient deity. She is usually envisioned as the very substance of the night, the veil of dark mist drawn across the sky to obscure the light, and the shining blue of the heavens. She is the opposite to her daughter Hemera, who is the goddess of the day, as Nyx is the goddess of the night. In ancient art, Nyx has been depicted as either a winged goddess or with a chariot, and sometimes crowned with the dark mists. She was personified in Homer, where he calls her the subduer of gods and men, and relates that Zeus himself stood in awe of her. In the ancient cosmologies, night is one of the very first beings created. She's described as the daughter of chaos and the sister of Erebus, who also becomes her partner. According to the Orphic lyrics, she was the daughter of Eros. So there is a little bit of, depending who you're listening to, depending who you're reading, whether it's Hesiod or it's the Orphic cosmology, there's a little bit of an interplay with how the primordials came to be. I generally go with she was a daughter of chaos. But as I've said, with Erebos she gave birth to Ether and Hemera, and without any husband she gave birth to the Moros, Hypnos, dreams, the Morai, the Nemesis, and many other similar beings. So it was later, and with later poems, she just became a personification of the darkness of the night. So they did change her a little bit there. So in the cosmology of Hesiod, so this is his in his theogony, he actually states that verily at first chaos came to be, but next came wide-bosomed Gaia, then dim Tartaros in the depths of the wide-pathed earth, and Eros, fairest among the deathless gods, who unnerves the limbs and overcomes the mind and wise counsels of all gods and all men within them. From chaos came forth Erebos and dark and black Nyx, but of Nyx was born Ether and Hemera, whom she conceived and bore in union of love with Erebos. And Gaia first bore starry Ouranos, equal to herself, to cover over on her on every side. So that's literally how Hesiod has described the creation, or part of the creation of the world. In the Orphic cosmology, he states, at the beginning there was only chaos. Nyx, dark Erebos, and deep Tartaros, Gaia and air. And Ouranos had no existence. Firstly, black-winged Nyx laid a germless egg in the bosom of the infinite deeps of Erebos. And from this, after the revolution of long ages, sprang the graceful Eros with his glittering golden wings. Now you might also remember when I covered off Eros a couple of weeks back, I did say there were two different ones. There is the Eros who is the primordial, who I covered off, and Eros in the later ages, who is usually associated with Aphrodite. So there are two different Eroses. This Eros is the primordial Eros. And anytime we mention Eros in this video, it will, unless I tell you otherwise, will be the primordial Eros. Okay, so also in the also in the Orifica, which is another Greek hymn from around the 3rd and 2nd BC, it states, firstly ancient chaos, stern Anarchy, and Kronos, who bred from within his boundless coils ether, and two-sexed, two-faced, glorious Eros, ever-born Nyx's father, whom later men call Thanes, for he first was manifested. So they come back to, so they believe that Nyx's father was Eros, whereas obviously in other traditions, she was just the daughter of Chaos. Chaos had no partner. Chaos was just Chaos. Then also in this one, which was found in the Divini Papyrus, Zeus, when from his father the prophesied rule and strength in his hands, he took, and the glorious Daemon, the god, who first sprang forth into the ether, Kronos, who did a mighty deed to Ouranos, son of Nyx, who became king first of all, following him again, Kronos, and then Zeus, the controver. And then Homer in his Iliad, he states this tale, which I believe I did break down in my original video too. There in Lemnos, she, Hera, encountered Hypnos, the brother of Thanatos. Hypnos addresses Hera. The time I laid to sleep the brain in Zeus of the ages drifted upon him still and soft, but your mind was devising evil, and you raised along the sea the blasts of the racking winds, and on these swept him away to Kos. The strong founded with all his friends lost, but Zeus awakened in anger and beat the gods up and down his house, looking beyond all others for me, and would have sunk me out of the sight in the sea. From the bright sky had not Nyx, who has power over gods and men. So basically that is the myth of how Hera had convinced Hypnos to put Zeus to sleep. This was during, the tales kind of differ a little bit. So one tale says this is during the Trojan War, another one says this was when she was wanting to punish Dionysus, who is a son of Zeus, not begotten by Hera. But Zeus had awoken during Hypnos's hypnotizing him to sleep basically, and he chased him all through the cosmos. And in Hypnos's flight, he flew to his grandmother Nyx, or his mother Nyx. That also changes from tale to tale. And it was the one place that Zeus would not enter because he would not anger her. And so the story goes. So in the next one, think I've got my pages all mixed up here. Oh, I have. And the next one, in one of Hesiod's works and days, he calls Strife the elder daughter of dark Nyx. So there's another one. And this one is from a lyric from the 5th century BC. They link Hecate to Nyx. So they say that she is the torch-bearing Hecate, holy daughter of great-bosomed Nyx. And this one this is from a Greek tragedy from the 5th century BC. O mother Nyx, hear me, mother who gave birth to me as a retribution for the blind and seeing. So that was from the Erinyes. The Erinyes are also quoted as, we, the Erinyes, are the eternal children of Nyx. We are called Eri in our homes beneath the earth. Hear my anger, mother Nyx, for the deceptions of the gods. You divine mother, you divine Moray, our sisters by one mother, divinities who distribute justly. In this one, so this is a description of what Nyx was envisioned to look like. It is from illustrations that were found in Olympia around the 2nd century AD. And there is a figure of a woman holding in her right arm a white child asleep, and in her left a black child also asleep. Each of their feet are turned in different ways, and the inscriptions declare that one is the figure of Thanatos, who is death, and the other one is Hypnos, who is sleep, and the woman holding them is Nyx, their mother. And now this one from Virgil, which is from the 1st century BC. He depicts a black fleeced lamb that is sacrificed to Nyx, the mother of the Furies. 2 demon fiends there are called by the name of Furies, whom darkest Nyx brought forth as one, and the same birth with hellish Megara, breeding all 3 alike with the twinning coils of serpents and giving them wings like the wind, the spawn of night. And this one, which was a Roman tragedy from the 1st century AD, it goes on to say, O Hypnos, vanquisher of woes, rest of the soul, the better part of human life, thou winged son of thy mother, sluggish brother of cruel Thanatos. Now, so this one's back to, this one is back to the Theogony, so Hesiod's Theogony. Now this is more in relation to where Nyx might have dwelled, according to the ancients. So it says, and there at the ends of the earth, where sky meets earth, all in their order are the sources and ends of gloomy earth and misty Tartaros, and the unfruitful sea and starry heaven, loathsome and dank, which even the gods abhor. There stands the awful home of murky Nyx, wrapped in dark clouds. In front of it the son of Atlas stands, immovably upholding the wide heaven upon his head and unwearying hands. When Nyx and Hemera draw near and greet one another, they pass the great threshold of bronze, and while the one is about to go down into the house, the other one comes out the door. And the house never holds them both within, but always one is without the house, passing over the earth, while the other stays at home and waits until the time for her journey and come. And the one hold all-seeing light for them on earth, but the other holds in her arms Hypnos and the brother of Thanatos, even evil Nyx wrapped in vaporous clouds, and there the children of dark Nyx have their dwellings. Hypnos and Thantos, awful gods. Glowing Helios never looks upon them with his beams, neither as he goes up into the heavens, nor as he comes down from heaven. So as you can see, there seems to me, I suppose, a little bit of fear in regards to Nyx. I know this could be because the night back in ancient times brought about more dangers. Who knows? Who knows? But or because she was seen as so powerful that they dared not anger her. So this is from an anonymous fragment. It says, the choir leaders of the evenings, driving their 2-horse chariot along the path of night to the new turning point where Nyx passes through the light-bringing radiance in the eastern air, and she brings the day's light flying over the misty wave, a guide for sailors. And then in this one, this is from a Greek tragedy in the 5th century BC. Hail, sovereign Zeus, and you, kindly night, you who have given us great glory, you who cast your mesh snare upon the towered walls of Troy. And then following on, this is another description of what she possibly could have looked like. There was a design woven in the cloth of Ouranos, marshalling the Astara in the round sky, Helios in his chariot driving down to his last blaze, drawing after him the evening star. Nyx in her black cloak, drigging a single pair with the Astara following behind, the constellations, the Pleiades, in mid-course, and Orion the swordsman, while above went Arcturus waving his golden tail. So I suppose if you think about it, maybe Fantasia is probably a perfect description of this one, actually. If anyone remembers that Walt Disney film from, God, I think it was the 90s. You have Nyx coming up in her chariot, and with her and her cloak flowing behind her is not just the night, but also all the stars and the constellations that follow with her as well. So that is literally what that is describing there. So, and then in this one, which was a Greek epic from the 3rd century BC, it was evening out in the west beyond the furthest Ethiopian hills. Helios the sun was sinking under the darkening world. Nyx was harnessing her team. And then it goes on, there are other ones that goes on, Nyx threw her shadow on the world. So this is probably where the fear comes from, is that they may have viewed night itself as her shadow. Now this is something similar in relation to where she may have dwelled, because she wasn't in Olympus with the other gods. It rises at the world's end by the gates and courts of Nyx, and flows on in 3 streams, one of which debouches on the shores of Oceanus, another into the Ionoan Sea. And then from the same poem, Nyx with her gentle ban on man's activities descended on the company. She put the world to sleep. And then Eos, who was the goddess of the dawn, is mentioned here alongside her, which was Eos' celestial beams chase black Nyx from the sky. So as you can tell, so there's just a lot more like this, a lot more poems like this, and we could probably go on for quite some time. But as you can see, so in relation to how she was worshipped, while there was no real mystery cult for her, as others have been able to have had, such as Persephone and Demeter, and we will get into some of the others. But she, I suppose in a sense, she was linked to, which a bit like Hecate, but in the earlier years in relation to witchcraft. So you've got this one from the Ovid, where it says, when she shone in her fullest radiance. So this is as in relation to Selene, the goddess of the moon. The witch Medea went forth alone upon her roaming way, in the deep stillness of the midnight hour. Then to the stars she stretched her arms, and thrice she turned about, and thrice bedewed her locks with water. Thrice a wailing cry she gave, the kneeling on the stony ground. O Nyx, mother of mysteries, and all ye golden Astara, and thou divine three-formed Hecate, and thou kindly Gaia, who dost for magic potent herbs provide, the gods of night be with me now, by your enabling power at my behest. The deep earth groan, and ghosts rise from their tombs. Thee too bright, Selene, I banish thy throes, the clanging bronze under my spells. Even my grandsire's chariot grows pale, and Aurora pales before my poisonous power. So that goes into how she's also known, not only is she known as the goddess of the night, she's also known as the goddess of mysteries. Which makes sense, the night would have held a lot of mystery for the ancients back in the day. But yes, so that is just a little bit more in relation to Nyx. So she was a feared goddess. She was a feared goddess. She was seen as the heralder of shadows, the goddess of mysteries, goddess of the night. She was linked to magic and witchcraft. She was linked as a predecessor to Hecate in some ways. She was feared by Zeus himself. She was seen as the goddess who would cast her mantle over the earth each and every night, sending us to our sleep. So while there are no temples necessarily that have been, as far as I'm aware, that have been found for her, she, I suppose you don't really need one, because you can just look at the night sky and have that as her temple, I guess. And in that regard, her temple is everywhere. So yes, that's just a little bit about the mighty goddess Nyx. We will be back next week with some more videos. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye.